Off-campus Element apartments are still under construction, even though students are already supposed to be living there. Hear what frustrated students are saying about the delay.
A suspect in custody arrested in connection with the bombs that exploded in New York and New Jersey this weekend. Find out what the FBI is saying about it.
A bus tour for the controversial Proposition 61 kickoff today. See why supporters are saying this could lower the price of prescription drugs.
Annenberg TV News is next.
Live from USC, you're watching Annenberg TV News.
It's always weighing on my mind. Like, when are we going to move? It's like something that I think about like constantly every day. Like, how am I gonna? It's like, I don't know. It's like a very big stress.
Tonight, more than 100 students are waiting to move into housing, expecting to be completed this month.
The Element apartment has moved students more than 5 miles away from campus. Good evening, I'm Rachel Frayne.
And I'm Etienne Smith. Students are frustrated.
A luxury housing complex near campus was supposed to be done in time for the fall semester, but it's still not finished. Annenberg media reporter Lauren Day talked to students who are frustrated by the delay.
Yeah, students were told in an email that Element would be finished between September 15th and September 30th. Now, I want to point out the exterior of Element, where the retail shops are supposed to go. It still has no walls. Now, some students say that they are since halting construction on that area and just trying to focus on those apartments. Students I spoke with, well, they say they just want it to be done. It was supposed to be done and ready for move-in August 1st. But Element, a luxury student housing complex, is still not finished.
They told us they wanted to be done by September 30th, and there's no way. I mean, if you look at the structure, there's not even exterior walls.
Element is owned by Stuho. Students who were supposed to live there are now temporarily living in the Da Vinci downtown. It's about 5 miles away from campus.
The fact that they couldn't get us someplace that was in a reasonable distance from school seems kind of ridiculous.
Students who signed a lease with Element were expecting to be just a short walk or even bike ride from campus. For me, biking to campus took about 4 minutes. But now students have to take a shuttle to get to the Da Vinci. I took it and found that it takes about 20 to 30 minutes each way.
Considering you're a student that thought they were going to live close to campus, it's basically you're commuting.
The Element lease contract did say the landlord would provide, quote, reasonable temporary accommodations, end quote, if the construction wasn't finished. But some students feel the Da Vinci is not reasonable.
Also, they have us in a 2-bedroom apartment with 4 people living there. So we're sharing a bedroom built for 1 person with 2 people.
After numerous emails, phone calls,
thank you for calling Element,
and an in-person request, Stuho declined to comment. A contract mediation expert says she's never seen an addendum to a lease agreement like this. She thinks students might be able to negotiate with the landlord.
If they file a complaint with the Department of Consumer Affairs, they might offer them the opportunity to mediate, and then they would invite the landlord to mediate with the tenants, and they could try to work out a solution.
One student was able to live elsewhere for the fall semester, but she says she still has to pay Element for the difference.
I'm paying Element $107 to not live there. To live at an old frat house where we had to buy our own furniture.
Students say this is creating a lot of extra anxiety.
It's always weighing on my mind. Like, when are we going to move? It's like something that I think about like constantly every day. Like, how am I gonna? It's like, I don't know. It's like a very big stress.
To avoid that stress, Colbert suggests students take a hard look at any lease agreement before signing.
Do not be in a hurry. If somebody pressures you to sign, don't sign it.
Keep in mind, this is extremely stressful for these students because they are now going to have to move 2 times in the middle of the semester. Of course, USC students have midterms and papers to do, so a lot of them say this is just an extra headache they don't need. Etienne, back to you.
Thanks, Lauren. A suspect in this weekend's bombings in New York and New Jersey is in custody after a shootout with police this morning. Ahmed Khan Rahami survived the shootout but is being treated for shoulder wounds. 2 officers suffered minor injuries. New York mayor and FBI officials identified Rahami as the only suspect. He is a naturalized citizen from Afghanistan. Investigators discovered a cell phone and a fingerprint linking Rahami to the bombs.
Based on the information we have now, we have every reason to believe this was an act of terror.
I have no indication that there is a cell operating in the area or in the city. The investigation is ongoing, so as we develop more information, we continue to go, but I have no indication that there is a cell operating here.
Officials also suspect Rahami to be linked to 1 unexploded bomb 4 blocks from the New York explosion and 5 unexploded bombs outside a New Jersey train station just a few miles from Rahami's last known address. FBI robots accidentally set off one of those bombs while trying to disarm them. This morning, President Obama urged Americans to remain calm.
It's important to remember what terrorists and violent extremists are trying to do. They are trying to hurt innocent people, but they also want to inspire fear in all of us. We all have a role to play as citizens in making sure that we don't succumb to that fear.
29 people were injured in Saturday's New York explosion, but all were released from hospitals by Sunday morning.
A 19-year-old Marine and Troy Camp volunteer was shot just 3 blocks from USC's campus. Carlos Segovia was found unconscious late Friday night. He's now fighting for his life in a downtown Los Angeles hospital. When Segovia was first rushed to the hospital, officials declared him brain dead. Since then, the family has been struggling to afford to keep him on life support. USC Troy Camp set up a fundraising page to help the family. So far, they've raised more than $600. Claire Chatanova of USC Troy Camp says, as he is fighting for his health, we know his family and friends are around him, as should be the whole USC community. Troy Camp counselor Devra Triaman remembers Segovia. Carlos, or Hedgehog as we like to call him, could not have set a better example for our elementary school campers. LAPD still has no leads on the case, but say they are actively looking for a suspect. Hillary Clinton trying to appeal to millennial voters in a speech in Philadelphia.
Our political anchor, Aidan McMillan, is here now with more on the speech and reaction.
In Hillary Clinton's campaign speech at Temple University, she addressed the most important issues to millennials, like college affordability and climate change. She also emphasized the importance of millennials' participation in this election.
This is going to be close. We need everyone off the sidelines. Not voting is not an option. That just plays into Trump's hands. It really does.
This speech comes after several recent polls that point to Clinton's continuing struggle to capture the millennial vote. In light of her campaign's effort to reach out to millennials, we spoke to USC students about what they think Clinton's biggest faults are and what she needs to do to increase her appeal to this integral voting group.
I don't think she's transparent enough in terms of issues about race and diversity.
She kind of comes across as unemotional and really uninterested in the large composition of fabric of the American people as a whole. I think she has to do a better job of showing that she really actually cares.
Clinton's next scheduled appearance is at a rally in Orlando, Florida. Donald Trump spoke at a rally in Florida today. Florida is a swing state, and polls show that Trump and Clinton are in a neck-and-neck race for the state.
Attack after attack. From 9/11 to San Bernardino, we have seen how failures to screen who is entering the United States puts all of our citizens, everyone in this room, at danger.
His speech focused on national security and his position on immigration in the wake of recent attacks in Minnesota, New Jersey, and New York City. Today marks the 1-week point until the first presidential debate. Next Monday, after the debate, Annenberg Media's Vote 2016 will be going live from 7:30 to 9 p.m. to recap the much-anticipated event. Tune in to uscannenbergmedia.com for our live-streamed coverage. Supporters of Prop 61 rallied in downtown Los Angeles today, hoping to put a cap on the price of prescription drugs. They're kicking off a statewide bus tour in favor of the prop. The organizer of today's rally says the statistics speak for themselves.
Prop 61 would require the state of California, which buys over $4 billion per year in prescription drugs, to pay no more than is paid for each individual drug by the Department of Veterans Affairs. This will save the taxpayers of California, by our calculations, anywhere from $800 million to $1 billion per year in lower drug costs.
Prop 61's opponents say the proposition won't benefit everyday people.
The funder of the Yes campaign, the people that put it on the ballot, are the AIDS Healthcare Foundation. It made, in 2015, $800 million selling prescription drugs.
Prop 61's opponents have raised $86 million, but the groups in favor have raised $9 million. The AIDS Health Foundation put it on the ballot earlier this year.
A group of death row exonerees voiced their support this morning for Proposition 62. It calls for replacing the death penalty in California with life in prison without parole. The event was held at Homeboy Industries, an LA nonprofit that provides training and support for formerly incarcerated men and women. Exonerees shared personal stories and opinions surrounding the death penalty.
Cop, who's killed before, by the way, too, and after, walked into a church, said he got an epiphany walking down the street. God came into his heart. He walked right into the next church and confessed to the pastor. And that's what started things going. I was 9 days from my execution.
I actually used to believe in the death penalty. I thought they got it right. I thought it was for the worst of the worst. I found that everything I was ever told, everything I came to believe in, was not true.
Opponents of Proposition 62 say the death penalty is the right way to deal with criminals.
It's the proper way for crimes that are just so outrageous that people basically don't deserve to live in this society, even in a prison. I mean, there are polls that show that it looks as though Prop 62 is not going to pass.
Californians will vote on another death penalty issue this November. Proposition 66 would limit the number of petitions prisoners can file to challenge their convictions and sentences. This is designed to expedite any appeals.
Governor Jerry Brown signed a new law targeting super pollutants. Find out what they were and how this may change the air we breathe.
Cal State LA has unveiled a new campus downtown on the already delayed metro lines. Hear what's being done to lower wait times.
The People vs. O.J. Simpson dominated the Emmys last night. See what students have to say about the legacy he left behind.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up one finger if you're a man, women, 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
Cal State opened a brand new downtown campus today near the 7th Street Metro stop. That means more students are taking the Expo line, and that's raising concerns about even more delays. Annenberg Media's Cole Sullivan has more on how Metro is trying to cut wait times.
USC has a new neighbor. Cal State LA officially cut the ribbon on their new downtown campus.
As really the only public university that's within this radius, we see it as part of our mission and our vision to be in downtown.
The new space at 8th and Grand has 12 classrooms and more than 200 students.
That people that work here in the daytime may not necessarily live in downtown, but it's convenient for them to come to classes after work.
With classes mostly offered at night, Cal State isn't just attracting students from downtown.
So we're seeing people really from all over Los Angeles County.
Cal State says one of the best parts about having this downtown campus is from the moment you press the button in the elevator, you're only a 3-minute walk from the nearest Expo line metro stop. But another school on the line means even more commuters, and that's raising concerns about more delays.
The demand is really incredible, and as I told you before, we're really happy for that, but we are worried about the service that we provide.
Jose Ubaldo is a Metro spokesperson. He says they're rushing to add train cars on the Expo line.
They are coming, and we immediately test it, and as soon as they are ready, we put it in service.
The LA Times found nearly a quarter of Expo line trains in June were more than 5 minutes late. And that means if students are trying to get to one of the 5 colleges on the line, they need to give themselves extra time.
They need to plan in advance if they know it's going to be crowding.
But Ubaldo says even a slightly delayed train is better than trying to drive.
Still better than sitting in traffic on the freeway.
He says they're hoping to cut wait times in half by December. For Annenberg Media, I'm Cole Sullivan.
Fans of American Crime Story, The People vs. O.J. Simpson, are celebrating after the show nabbed 9 Emmy Awards last night. The series brought Simpson's infamous murder trial back to American households. American Crime Story explores Simpson's murder case from behind the scenes over 10 episodes. Simpson was a star USC athlete who won the Heisman Trophy. But some USC students don't remember his link to the school at all.
When I think of USC, I don't initially think of O.J. Simpson.
I haven't correlated O.J. Simpson to USC specifically, no.
Many people pass through a school, and you can look at any school and see unfortunate alumni, so it's never something that I've had brought to my attention.
Simpson's Heisman still sits in Heritage Hall, and his story continues to fascinate audiences. We spoke with Sports Information Director Tim Tessalone about Simpson's legacy on campus.
The line that anybody who ever calls we give to is, he will always be regarded as a great player at USC. The accomplishments that he did when he was a player here. What happened after he left USC is really beyond our scope.
Simpson is currently serving time in prison for armed robbery and kidnapping, among other charges. He can apply for parole in October 2017. Now, Etienne, I don't know about you, but I spent my weekend in San Francisco, and the weather up there was incredible.
Well, I wouldn't really know about the weather down here because I was inside watching the game, but maybe this weekend we can go to the beach.
I think I'd like that. Let's send it over to Lauren Dunn, who can tell us what the weather's going to look like this week.
Thank you, guys. Yes, today has actually been a little bit gloomy, but that's the exact opposite of what you can expect for the rest of your week. Let's take a look at today's current conditions. You can see that it's 78 degrees, pretty fair out, but pretty high humidity. Let's move on to tomorrow's Southern California forecast. You can see that in the Inland Empire, we're going to be in the high 80 degrees. Also 72 in Big Bear. It's even hot there. Moving on to the coast, you can see that it's 78 in Malibu, 90 degrees in Thousand Oaks. Let's bring it back to the USC area, and you can see that it's going to be 88 in USC, 85 in Anaheim, and 80s along the coast. Now let's take a look at your 5-day forecast. You can see that it's going to be heating up throughout the week, high 80s all the way up until Saturday. And speaking of your weekend, I have a bucket list of tons of places you have to explore your weekend if you live in LA. This week on Lauren's LA, I took a trip to the LA Farmers Market.
Nearly everyone in Los Angeles has heard of the Grove, but many have never even stepped foot in this hidden treasure right next door. The Farmers Market has been here since 1934. It is packed full of restaurants and food shops of all kinds, from fresh fruit vendors, Middle Eastern food, and delicious meats, to colorful pastries, Chinese food, and a French fromagerie. The sweet shops are my personal favorites at the market. This one has the most incredible caramel apples. I love to get a different one every time I visit. So next time you are looking for a new place to explore, with delicious food, live entertainment, and tons of options, definitely head to the Farmers Market.
It's a great place to explore with family and friends because no matter what you're in the mood for, the Farmers Market is bound to have it. So this weekend is looking to be pretty warm and sunny, but it could be the perfect time for the Farmers Market or even the beach. What are you guys doing this weekend?
Definitely going to the farmer's market now.
Perfect.
I'll actually be back in my home state of Utah for the football games, so unfortunately I'll miss out on the farmer's market, but I'm definitely down to go next weekend.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks, Lauren. Governor Jerry Brown joined elected environmental and civic leaders to sign a Senate Bill 1383 today. The bill will impose restrictions on superpollutants such as black carbon, fluorinated gases, and methane. Chemicals like these don't stay in the atmosphere as long as carbon dioxide, but they do trap more heat. Officials say sources of heat could these pollutants be transportation fuels and aerosol products. The USC football team took another loss to Stanford last Saturday, giving the team a 1-2 record.
Although the Trojans couldn't pull out a win, there were still some stars among the squad. For more on sports, let's toss it over to our sports anchor, Alexa Palermo.
Thank you so much, you guys. That's right. Although it may not seem like there were some highlights from the game on Saturday, there will, and I will bring you a couple of them. And the team is looking to make some much-needed improvements before facing Utah on the road. The men's water polo team is looking to keep their undefeated streak alive. Sports are next.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
Breaking news from the USC football practice. Head coach Clay Helton announced that redshirt freshman Darnold will be the new starting quarterback against Utah Friday night. Helton said that he's looking to bring a spark to the offense and thinks that Darnold will provide that. The Trojans, now led by Darnold, will head out to Utah Friday night for another ranked matchup. USC looks to improve on the little things that make a huge difference. Simple mistakes like missed coverage can cause big problems. Marvell Tell didn't block Christian McCaffrey, and he got a 56-yard touchdown. The strong run gains were negated by incompleted pass plays, which leaves the Trojan offense without an identity. Head coach Clay Helton continues to preach the run game, but it gets confusing when successful run plays are followed by 3-and-out passing plays. The team continued to shoot themselves in the foot in the first half with 5 false starts, including 3 on one drive.
We end up having those 7 penalties in the first half, which creates some, third and long situations where it felt like they did a very nice job of being 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. We're sitting there at 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8, and that, I think that's the biggest thing, Dan, is eliminating the errors that are killing us, and that's penalties in this football game.
USC will face undefeated number 24 in Salt Lake City. The Utes will recognize former defensive tackle Stevie Tuvikilavatu, who transferred to Troy from Utah just this season. Over in the pool, the number 2 ranked men's water polo team brought their coach Jovan Vavik his 500th win. The Trojans handed the Cardinal their first loss of the season on Saturday with a score of 8-4. The defense shut out their hosts in the first and third periods to help clinch their win. And while the Trojans allowed more than 3 goals for the first time this season, the offense made up for it with its explosiveness.
As a team, collectively, defensively we're fantastic again, and it's something that we're going to pride ourselves this season is our defense. Offensively, we'll like to, make the most of a couple more opportunities that we created and finish those, and also some of our passing. We had a few too many bad passes that we'd like to fix up for the NorCal tournament next weekend.
The Trojans are headed to Berkeley this weekend for the MPSF Invitational. The Rams came out triumphant in their return to Los Angeles. Sunday marked the first meaningful snap of NFL football in Los Angeles in over 2 decades. The Rams beat the Seahawks 9-3 in front of over 91,000 fans, the Rams' second largest opening day crowd since 1954. In a very low-scoring game, the fans were a vital part of the win, forcing a false start in the fourth quarter and cheering on Alec Ogletree, who got the game-winning fumble. Ogletree tweeted out, "Great win today, amazing crowd support and noise." And now it's time for my pick of the week. We're heading back to football. The loss this week was tough, but there was a bright spot, Adoree Jackson. Check out why he's my pick of the week. Stanford quarterback Ryan Burns underthrew a pass to his receiver in the fourth quarter of the game on Saturday, and Adoree Jackson was right there to get his second interception of his career. Let's look at that in slow motion. Oh, the amazing height on his jump, and he was right there to grab the ball out of thin air. And one more time up at full speed. Good for Adoree. That was such a great play on his part.
Right? Kind of incredible, but I still can't get over the fact that Sam is going to be starting this weekend.
Oh, thanks, Alexa.
Thank you.
Today's National Talk Like a Pirate Day.
See what students had to say about it.
The earthquakes you see in movies are one thing, but real life is a completely different animal. Just because you can't predict an earthquake doesn't mean that you can't prepare for one. In the event of a real earthquake, you should drop, cover, and hold on. Visit ready.gov/earthquake and practice what to do to keep you and your family safe in the event of a real earthquake. And you'll be seen as a hero by your family and your loved ones.
Visit ready.gov/earthquake today.
Hey, look, it's those guys.
What's up? What's happening today?
Let's go, Pearly Whites, man.
Yeah! The boys, check it out. Stand up, do my chair, it's gonna compare us. Go!
Ooh, cute. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine. Hey girl, what's the sound? What's the name? What's good? What's up?
How many did you have? I should be fine. You should be.
Sir, go and step out of the vehicle for me.
Yes, sir. See ya, buddy. Today, Sean's got a hearing. We'll see how it goes. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Today is International Talk Like a Pirate Day, so we asked some USC students and faculty to break out their best impressions.
Arg. Oh boy. Well, you just got to act drunk. I don't know. All right, let's sit over there. All right. Just get on the ship. Arr, matey.
Ahoy, matey.
If you want to get the most out of talking like a pirate, Krispy Kreme is giving out free donuts to all who participate. Thanks for watching Annenberg TV News. From everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Etienne Smith.
Here's your check.